Ladies and gentlemen, today I am wearing red. And do you know why I'm wearing red? Because we're going to talk about love, baby. That is right. I went to be so bold as to ask Nick Willard about his relationship with Nikki, HarleyQueen FPV. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It was really hard to find a set of questions that did not come across as like creepery. But Nick and Nikki have what is probably the most visible romance in FPV, and I thought it was worth asking about. Nick was awesome. He definitely played along. And by the way, Nikki, you have a standing invitation to be on the show as well, because I think there's some really awesome stories that you could tell that have nothing to do with Nick. But here it is, a little bit of the story of Nick and Nikki, an FPV romance. Talk to y'all soon. So I do want to ask you about Nikki.
Okay.
Because you legitimately... I know of a couple other FPV couples, right? I think that you are the most, I hesitate to use the word famous. You're the most well known of all those couples. Like there's a few couples from like Texas where like Justin Skinner. I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah, I know Justin.
Yeah, Justin. His wife spots for him in races.
Yeah.
So But you're in a relationship where you both fly.
Mm-hmm.
And she's actually really good too. Like I just watched her most recent video. I was like, man,
dude, she's gotten so much better so fast. Like,
yeah, it's a little scary.
It's crazy to see her progression and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I mean, she's the biggest thing I've noticed with her when it comes to FPV stuff, because I'll help coach her and stuff like that when we're flying, because she's always just so inquisitive. Like, I want to know how to do this. I want to know how to do this. You know, like Nick, I love the way that you did this. Tell me how you do it. Show me how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with most people, you tell them and, you know, they kind of get it, and then they do it and you watch them again and you're like, yeah, you kind of got it.
Almost,
just,
yeah.
Do it again just exactly the way I said it the first time. And they keep kind of doing the same stuff, and it takes a long time for it to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
But like, she's just so fast at learning. Like with the juicy flick stuff, she's like, how do you do juicy flick? I'm like, well, you know, it's really hard to get to look right. Like the basics of it is it's a half flip forward and then a half roll, and then you can either yaw out of it or you can do the thing in reverse and do it. When I was showing her the simulator, I was like, half flip forward, half roll out, yaw out of it. And like, but to make it look good, you're gonna want to like flick the stick in. You're gonna really make sure you softly center when you come back. I told her all this stuff, and she picks up the simulator and just perfect, like first time. I'm like, how did you do that so well? Like, well, you told me what to do, so I just did it.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yeah, but there's no practice involved. I took 6 months to freaking make that look good, and if you just tell you what to do and you just do it, and things like the notorious one, like power loops was one where she was like, she's never done a power loop. I'm like, how do you do a power loop? I'm like, well, that's a hard one. You know, it's a lot of practice. It's a lot of like getting like the right, I'm like knowing the right amount of pitch back, the right amount of throttle to add. It's something you really just kind of got to play around with. You know, start with big power loops to kind of get a feel for it, because if you mess up, you get stuck in a tree really bad. And she rolls out. She's like, all right, so you just throttle up and pitch back. And like her very first time trying to power loop, I mean, just like eating the branches at the top of the tree, just around. I'm like, what happened to like starting big and like going littler? You just instantly ride out and just boop, 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 boop. Like, well, you told me what to do, and I just did it. And I'm like, it's just so crazy. She's just like, she picks up so fast on concepts when I like try and like show her how to do things. She just does it. I mean, with such like little practice, and it's crazy to see the progression she's come in the last month. You know, because we really started to kind of like, go out and like help her and like push her and, you know, show her how to do stuff like that. And she just, I mean, so quick picks up anything I throw at her.
So, you know, is that it all like, I'm trying to think. My wife and I have been married for, it'll be 19 years this year, and there's a tension periodically when we try to teach each other something. And so, like, a lot of times she'll, I mean, we've been married for so long, we have pretty well-defined, roles at this point. But, she's a nurse, and I had some basic EMT training. But periodically she, will come into something medical will happen. Like, I've been dealing with plantar fasciitis, and it really hurts. And
she's like, I know what that is.
So it's a condition in the foot when so there's this piece of ligament. Or it's not a lot of ligament. It's just an attachment that goes from the front of the foot to the back of the foot, and it can get inflamed. And when it gets inflamed, it's really painful. And because you're on your feet all the time, it's very hard to get it to stop inflaming. And so I've ended up going to like all kinds of crazy PT and stuff like that for it. And, my wife has dealt with it, and she knows how to treat it. And there was like this tension between the two of us as I started in a treatment, and she was like, yeah, you're doing that wrong. You need to do it this way. And I'm, being bullheaded and being like, well, no, I'm going to do it this way. Like, this is how I want to do it. Like, do you guys ever butt heads and run into like FPV fights when, you try to tell her to do something, or she tries to tell you to do something, and it ends up in a disagreement? Or
no, dude, never. She's just, it never gets like that because, if the only time that ever anything like that is because I'm such a terrible teacher, and I'm so bad at explaining things. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to like having to like explain like concepts, I'm such a visual learner. Mm-hmm. Like, if I just watch someone do it, I watch them do it, and I can like make reason, like, that's why they did it. That makes sense. And I can do it. But when someone's like, explain to me how to do it, I'm like, mm-hmm. Well, I can do it well, but I can't explain how it's like, I know how it works, like, so like intently, but I can't just make the words come out to explain it. Mm-hmm. There have been a lot of times where she gets really frustrated because mm-hmm. I like say something that I think makes sense, and then she does, literally what I say. I'm like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to be done. She's like, but that's exactly what you said. I'm like, well, yes, it is exactly what I said, but that's not what I meant. I meant like this. She's like, well, then why didn't you say that? I'm like, because I didn't know until now. That's how I should have said it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be probably a downside. What are how often do y'all go flying together? Is it is she your prime flying buddy? Do you guys get to fly together often?
Oh yeah, we fly together all the time. Yeah, most times that we fly together. The only times, especially recently, that I've done by myself is because she's doing her student teaching right now. Mm-hmm. So if I'm gonna go fly or do something during the day, I don't have anyone to go with. Or before she did that, if there'd be times where I'm like, oh, I just gotta really shoot a video. Like I have a video I need to release tomorrow mm-hmm. or in 2 days. I gotta get something shot and done. Especially if she's busy or something, I'll quickly run out. There's parks everywhere. There's so many flying spots here. It's one of the amazing mm-hmm. things I love about it. Mm-hmm. There's probably 10 different flying spots within 5 minutes drive of here. I just That's quickly awesome. Go out. I fly 3 packs. I shoot whatever talking bits I need to. I get that done in like an hour, and then I come back. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the only time I really fly by myself. But if I fly with her, it's definitely a lot more fun. That's when I kind of realize I have a lot of fun flying, because if you've seen any of her videos, we're really just kind of like back and forth. It's a really fun atmosphere. It's always a blast, and it's a lot more enjoyable, especially than going out and flying by myself. But also flying by myself usually means that I'm like, I've got a video I want to shoot and do, and it turns into like shooting the video, not like going out and flying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. There was a time period where I get to fly so little, unfortunately, that for a long time, every time I would go fly, it would be because I was shooting.
Yeah.
And that just really wore on me after a long time. I actually quit for about, I don't know, 6 months. And over the past year and a half, I've worked my way back into it. But I know, for me, flying with my sons, there's like a nervous factor for me when we all go fly together. And, because they're not as good as I am. They're still learning. There's still some things that they've got to, my oldest son, who was sitting over here when you saw him earlier, he's as hard-headed as I am. And he'll full throttle through a tree in a heartbeat, Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel like you need to spend more time teaching her or coaching her than flying, or does that ever play into things?
I mean, I probably spend a lot of time when we got flying, like coaching and helping her, but I find that just as enjoyable as flying myself. Usually we'll always like trade off packs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, a lot of times, especially, it's one of those where I felt like if she wasn't so good at picking up on things so fast, I could see maybe it would kind of be like frustrating, but it's one of those like, she picks up on things so quickly and so good executing, where it makes my job as the mentor just like a cakewalk, Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm not actually doing anything. I'm just like, just regurgitating information, and that's it. And there's also, I don't know, I've always feel like there's just to kind of get like to not feel pressured. A lot of it is kind of the biggest deal. Like, mm-hmm. Went to fly some office parks the other weekend ago, and I was really pushing her to like kind of experiment and do more stuff. And then she ended up getting stuck on the roof.
I actually saw that video.
Building.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like we don't have any spare parts right now, so we couldn't build another quad. And you don't have the warranty situation here. So if the GoPro's lost or damaged, mm-hmm. you're out like $300.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We'll get it back. As long as I don't know, I feel like a lot of times if you just take the pressure off, it just makes it a lot better, a lot more fun, especially because, we just went to the hardware store. We bought a giant ladder, and we got up to like the landing. Oh my God, it's not here. Like, she's like, we're going to be, oh my God, it's gone. It's gone forever. I'm like, well, that just means it's on the roof. Right. She's like, oh, it's never coming back. I'm like, well, no, we'll just come back. We'll just ask them, hey, can we go on the roof? We have a drone stuck up there. And usually people just like, whatever, sure. Yeah. Like they don't really care. But I was flying my drone across the field and, something happened and ended up on the roof. People don't care. And I was like, well, and then she's like, we'll do something. How about we put a hook on your quad and get it down? I'm like, okay. So I just literally makeshifted a hook and tied it to rope and flew and then ended up getting it off. And it's like, everything's okay. Everything's done. Everything's going to be okay, and everything will be okay as long as you just believe it'll be okay. That's kind of like one of like my biggest things, like to just not, stress. Once you kind of lose that like stress factor, mm-hmm. about kind of stressing out over something, everything does just kind of work out okay. And that's something that I learned the hard way. Like when I would stress out about like, oh God, I'm releasing a video tomorrow. I don't have any flight footage. I've got to get good flight footage. I've got to go out. I've got to fly 10 packs. The footage got to be good. And then I would struggle and I would like crash a lot. I would get stuck in trees and then get it down. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, it's just such a maddening process that, once I kind of figured out that what was causing me to not have a fun time wasn't like the situation, wasn't anything around me. It was just me causing me to have a bad time, Mm-hmm. And I was like, once I kind of got that kind of figured out, it's just not like kind of, I guess, internal stress management was kind of one of the best things that I figured out. And it's one of those things where, if you just kind of like work on it a little bit here and there, it just kind of makes nothing will stress you out.
That's good advice.
Yes. Hard to execute.
It's
Easy to say.
It's very, very hard to execute.
Yes.
So what's next for Wild Willy? What's happening for you in the next few weeks to months to a year?
Oh God. Few weeks. Maybe that's the farthest out I know anything. DRL starts up in a month and a half, I think.
Okay.
Month and a half DRL starts up. That's going to start the monthly grind process that has to end up being. Right now, I'm just staying in Australia as long as I can, pumping out videos, trying to come up with stuff. Just having a fun time. I got the rest of my life to work and do whatever I want. I've got something that right this second is working for me, so I'll just do it until it doesn't, and then on to the next thing. But I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and it's working for now, and that's all that I care about.
I highly recommend enjoying this time. As a 41-year-old working man, there's not a lot of time once you get into the workforce to just enjoy yourself. And I like that I will say that I like that you're exploring making FPV work for you. I've talked to quite a few people. It seems like that's tough.
Dude. But to be totally fair, without DRL it wouldn't work. DRL is kind of like the backbone, sort of at least gives me enough, just the slightest bit of stability. Yeah. And it's also only year by year, so it only gives me a 1 year stability to kind of get it done. So, but thus far that's what I've done. And I've been experimenting, trying to find ways to make it work. But, I feel like I'm getting there. So it's something where hopefully in the next 6 months, I'll find something. But I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It seems like other people are enjoying the stuff that I make. So I just like what I'm doing. I'm having fun. And I'm living. And everything's fine. So I'll just keep enjoying and living.
I like it. Where can people find you on social media?
Right now, you can find me on Instagram at WildWilly_FPV. You can look up Wild Willy FPV on YouTube. I have a Facebook page, which is just Wild Willy FPV. And on Twitter.
I got in touch with you.
It is. My Wild Willy page is, it's a weird thing where it's more like a point of contact, I've realized. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of traffic for stuff that I post or do there, but it's an easy point of contact that I'm always has open. Anyone can message me, any questions I get. I have a lot that and Instagram DMs is where a lot of stuff comes through. So yeah, any of those places. Twitter at WildWilly_FPV. That's a new one.
Okay.
Gonna try doing that this year.
All right.
Who knows?
Good stuff, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And
thanks for having me.
It was truly an awesome pleasure, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys later.
All right. Now, if you are one of the ones that likes to watch the outros on my vlog, I will tell you this. That was probably the hardest set of questions I have ever asked. And I had to watch it back multiple times to make sure it wasn't super cringy or super creepy or in any way disrespectful, because the last thing that I wanted to do was be any of those things. I finally realized this is actually okay. This is good. And I'm really just stoked that Nick and Nikki were okay with me asking these questions, because I didn't just ask Nick if it was okay if he talked about it. I also made sure that it was okay with Nikki. Maybe they don't want their romance as part of a story, and I was going to honor that, but they were okay with it. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Send them a little bit of love. You can find her at HarleyQueen FPV. I'll link her at the end and in the description. And as always, you can find Nick at Wild Willy FPV. I actually think he's like Super Spartan something or other. That's actually his channel name. Bless his heart. It's okay, Nick. We love you anyways, bud. Anyways, I'm Mike Rollins. I'm out. You guys have a great day. Bye.